In this video, I'll be teaching you how to edit a stop motion video. And first we'll be combining all the stop motion image sequence, color correcting the images, and adding sound effects and music to the piece. So we'll be using Adobe Premiere for this. And before we get started, I'll just show you the image sequence that I have. So it's basically a book opening. I also have the audio, have 2 sound effects and 1 music piece. So let's get started. When you first open Adobe Premiere, you first have this window. So click New Project. Okay, name the file, so book open, and just locate where you want to save it. Okay, so I'm gonna save it in this folder. There are several ways in which you could edit a stop motion video. This is my way, and I find it an easy and fast way to do this. So double click in the project panel, find your image sequence, and just Command A or Control A to select all the images, import. Right click on all the images, speed and duration, and right now the duration of each image will be 5 seconds. So I like to have them 3 frames per second. So 0, 3. Okay. Right click on the first image, new sequence from clip, and then you'll have the timeline panel. So if you zoom in by clicking this option, and right now we have only the first image. I'm gonna add the rest of the images, so select from image number 2 until 13 and select them and place them in your timeline. Okay, let me just put them in the same line as the first image. Now if I play by clicking enter, I have this perfect animation. So the speed is good, I don't want to speed it anymore. If you have an image sequence and there is an image that you find is just wrong or has a mistake, or you want to remove it, just scrub through the timeline and choose the image that you want to remove and just delete it. So now there's a gap between the images, so just click on the gap and delete. Now it's removed. Okay. But for my animation it's good, so I just undo. For the last image, I want it to stay longer than the rest of the images, so I'll just click on it and then drag it maybe until the 3 seconds. So these numbers indicate the time. Okay, so now my video is only 3 seconds. So I usually like to keep organized when I'm working in any documents. So select all the images in your project panel, and then just place them in a folder. So image. Now I'm gonna add the audio. So create a new folder, audio, and double click, locate your audio, and I'll select them all, import. Just drag them inside this folder to keep tidy. So if you have any animation or if you have any video, the first thing you do is analyze what sound effects do you want. So for this video, I wanted to add like a sound of the book moving and then opening. I'll select book move, just place it under the images. So the top part is where you have the images or the videos in your file, and at the bottom is the audio. So if you have sound effects or music, this is where you add them. Okay, so let me zoom in, and what I like to do is see the wave of the audio. So double click here, now you could see the wave of the file. So if I play, it's a bit too late, so I want to cut it here and remove this first part and then let it play. So there are several ways to do this. One way is to just drag the audio. Now you've cropped it. The other way is to use the razor tool. So notice here you have different tools. So I'll use the razor tool and just cut it. So now I split the audio. Use the selection tool and click on the place where you want to remove and delete. So I'm just going to drag it at the start. Now if I play, perfect. Now let's add the book opening audio. So I'll just drag it. I could either drag it with the same layer here, or I could have it in another layer. But for now, I'll just place it the same layer. So if I play, okay, the audio is too late. So I'll just crop it again and move it. Let's see. Okay, I want it to be overlapped, so I can't do this by having it the same layer. I'll just move it down and then let it start here, and I think it's gonna be okay. Yep, it's good. Okay, now for the audio, for the music that I want, the background music that I want, I'm gonna have it under the layers, because if I place them in the same layer, then the sound effects will be removed. So put it in a separate layer. And then if I play, okay, it's too loud and I can't hear the sound effects that I have. So I'm gonna click on the audio, and in the effects panel, make the level of the sound maybe -20. So if it's a minus, I'm decreasing the audio, and if it's over 0, it's increasing. So let's play. Okay, I think the volume is good. Now what I want to do is just crop it, because now the video is finishing, but the audio is still playing. So let's just cut this. So using the razor tool, just gonna cut, use the selection tool and delete. Okay, let's play. Okay, the music suddenly stops. A good thing to do is to just make it fade out. Click on the place where you want the music to just slowly fade out. In the levels, I'm just gonna add a keyframe and then move to the final frame. Just make it -50. Now if I play. Okay, there is one thing that I still didn't do, which is color correct the images. So to do this, I'll select all the images, right click, and then nest. So nesting is like having all the images in like a group folder. So I'll name it image. Now it's like a folder. So if I do anything, if I make it bigger, if I rotate it, it's gonna change the whole thing. So click on it. And the preset, the workspace that I like to work with is color. So if you don't see this panel, click color, or click window, Lumerati color. So now you'll see this panel. And this panel enables you to edit the colors of the video, to edit the brightness, the exposure, the contrast. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just like you see which one looks good and which doesn't. So if you increase or decrease, you'll see what you like, what works for your video. Just like to increase the color, make it more vibrant. If your video, let me close this. If your video, if you want to zoom in, like make it just like cropped, you could do this by clicking on the image sequence, scale it. So let's go 120. So now it's zoomed in. Make it 100. You can also rotate the whole image sequence. So if I go, let's say 3, so now it's rotated. Let's go back. You could also like zoom in and zoom out. So at the start, it's like the scale is 100, and then at the end, let's make it 105. So now I have like a zoom in, a panning. Okay, so slightly zooming in, but I don't like that, so I'll just remove it. You could also change the position of the video. So let's say I wanted to move it 980. So now it's pan to the right, but it was good before. So after editing the everything, like the position, the scale, the rotation, the coloring, you want to export your video. File, export media, and I like to stay with the same preset, so match source high bitrate, and the format H.264. Rename it final video. Okay, export. After you finish exporting, you'll find the video